Welcome back to Club Nurse, everybody. I have a really cool conversation today that I am excited to share with you. I think that a lot of nurses will find a lot of value in this specifically. One of my biggest messages that I like to convey to the world and to the nursing world is that there are so many other things that we can do, and we don't have to just be in the nursing or healthcare space. And I think my guest today, Hannah, does this perfectly. I don't know if I want to say I guess perfectly, but does this very well. So I'm excited to chat with Hannah. Why don't you just give us a brief introduction of who you are, what you do in healthcare, and what your other big job is?
Yeah, hi, my name's Hannah. I am a registered nurse and a flight attendant. So I have a lot of different nursing jobs actually. It's kind of funny. At some in the hospital, PRN. But yeah, my other big job is being a flight attendant on top of nursing. So
I love that. So what did so kind of bring me back? Did you get first into nursing and then become a flight attendant? Were you already a flight attendant in nursing? Like which way did that go for you?
I became a nurse first. I graduated nursing school. And it was kind of just like perfect timing. I did nursing like very briefly. And then the flight attendant process to become a flight attendant is a long time. It takes a while. So I was doing nursing just very briefly after school, and then I went to flight attendant training.
Was that always the plan, or was this like oh, this seems like interesting?
That wasn't always the plan in nursing school. I just, like, hated nursing school so much. I was like, I don't know if I could be a nurse for the rest of my life. And, like, obviously for, like, clinicals in nursing school, you go to these med surg floors and you're just doing, like, CNA, which
Yeah.
so much respect to the PCTs and CNAs. But, like, you're not really doing, like, nursing stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't really I feel like during my nursing clinicals, I didn't really get to see everything you could do with nursing or
Yeah.
realize, like, the true possibilities. So, I mean, I was just like, "Oh my god, I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life." And, the whole reason I got into the flight attendant thing is my uncle's a flight attendant,
Okay.
and so he was like I was calling him on the phone and I was like, "I don't know if I could be a nurse. I don't know." And he's like, "Well, why don't you, like, apply? We're opening our applications, like, just see what happens until you figure out maybe what you would wanna do." And I was like, "Okay." And so then it just kind of like worked out perfectly where I was able to incorporate my nursing job and my degree with nursing and then be a flight attendant too. So
Amazing. First of all, I love the wherewithal and the awareness when you're during in nursing school to be like, yeah, I don't think this is it for me, but I'm gonna finish and at least have that nursing. Because I went to school with people who fourth semester, third semester, like I'm out of here. Like, this is not for me. And then I knew people who also knew that and just continued to finish the program just to have that in their back pocket. So I love that you did that. And so when you first were out of nursing school, what nursing job did you first get?
yeah, I was on like a post surgical floor, like a med surge
Okay.
nursing
And are you still
floor.
doing that as far as nursing, or are you doing something different?
So I work at a hospital. I do work at a hospital at PRN, but I'm kind of all over everything, kind of just where they need me. And then I also work at a postnatal retreat. This is kind of fun
Oh,
too.
that's
It's not
cool.
a big concept in the United States. It's really big in like I think Korea and
Oh,
Japan.
what is that
Uh,
like?
yeah, so the mom and dad, after they have the baby, they come and stay at this postnatal. So my job as a nurse, I like take vitals, I monitor, we go over like medications maybe, a lot of stuff with blood pressure, education. We do like a CPR class, lots of so that's really fun. And I call that like my soft nursing job
Yeah, that's
too. So
I've never even heard of that.
um
That's so interesting.
yeah, and there's 2 postnatal retreats in California. There was one in New York City, but it just closed down, and then Chicago, this is very new, the owner brought it here in, like, last October, so it's really new.
Awesome. So, okay, so you're in Chicago. So is this where you're based as a flight attendant?
Yes, and that's the whole
Okay.
reason I moved to Chicago. It's for my flight attendant job, and, so a lot of people ask me how I was able to do flight attendant training and be a nurse. I took off, like, 2 months of
Yeah.
being a nurse because I was like, "I really wanna do this instead, like, I wanna have something else just in case." So I did take off 2 months, and then I literally just picked up my life. I literally packed, like, 2 suitcases, and I moved to Chicago.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
and
think
then
sorry, go ahead.
and then I found a nursing job here, and now I do my flight attendant thing, so it was kind of, like, scary at first because there was
Yeah.
just a lot of big changes initially, but I was like, "I have to do this."
Yeah. And
just in
taking a
case.
chance, like, taking a chance on the whole
Yes.
flight attendant thing, because I mean, who's to say you would have even liked that as well? And I know that it's like I don't know if each flight, company does this different, but I know it's almost like flight attendant boot camp, like, you're gone for my ex-husband, I guess now, is a flight attendant.
Oh, got it.
He's great, I have so much respect for him, love him, but um so I know actually kind of a lot about, like, the flight attendant life and how that all works. So, did you have to go for a month and, like, do the whole training before you were, like, out working?
Yeah, yeah, so it's a whole month of training, and other airlines are different, like, it could be longer than a month. Mine was a month. You don't get paid. It's like an unpaid training until you finish. You get, like, a little stipend at the end. You stay in a hotel, you're away from your family and
Mhm.
friends, and you're just there for a month, like, doing full-on training, so that in itself is really hard. And that's funny that you kind of, like, know someone in the aviation industry because I feel like it's really hard to understand, like, scheduling and, like,
Yeah.
the lifestyle, like, it truly is such a unique and different lifestyle, and it's
So
really, really
different.
hard to understand everything unless you're in it or, like, someone that you're really close with, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and I think people always, have this perspective like, "Oh, like, this seems like such a cool life, cool job," and I think it is in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
but it comes with its own set of challenges,
Course.
depending on if you like that lifestyle of being gone a lot and depending on your seniority or what trips you're getting, you could be gone for 3 or 4 days and just, like, constantly, like, coming and going, and it's challenging, especially if you are by yourself to have things like pets and just take care of, like, your daily life when you're constantly on the go. Do you do, so are you flight attendant full time, or do you just really do a combo of both?
Yeah, I do a combination of both because I do think, like, the balance, like, have found a balance to where I'm not, like, getting burnt out with nursing or my flight attendant job because obviously if you fly too much too, it's very demanding dealing with people all day. Yeah, so, I'm technically, like, a full-time flight attendant, but something I feel like people don't understand is how flexible that
Yeah.
schedule is.
Yeah,
Like,
like, it's like so many hours in a year you have to hit, right?
yeah,
Or
and
yeah.
at my airline, this is why I wanted to work for my airline, is we don't have a minimum flight requirement. So, like, I know someone who hasn't flown in 2 years, but
Really?
she's still a flight attendant.
Wow.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah.
It's just like she works her trips that she's awarded and, you trade with people. It's just like the most flexible job ever.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I feel like is so enticing to go do something like be a flight attendant because it does offer there like I was saying, like, the schedule can be hard, but it also can be a huge benefit because you have that flexibility of being like, "I'm gonna stack all my trips and just get them over with, and then I'm gonna be off for so many weeks," or whatever you wanna do, which I think is super awesome, and something I also didn't realize that I just kind of found out through my ex-husband was that there are a lot more nurses who are actually flight attendants than we realize.
Yes, there's so many, actually,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Literally, actually insane. Like, I've run into so many
Yeah.
nurses and flight attendants. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because too, like, the flexibility of nursing plus flight attendant, and it gets you're not burning out in one field or the other. You get to, I mean, if you I don't know, if you're feeling like maybe you're flying too much or you're kinda burnt out, like, you're able to hop back into the nursing role
Go to
if you want,
nursing.
right?
Mhm, exactly.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest benefits that I miss having the most is, like, the non-rev life, like,
The free flights.
Yes, I miss the non-rev life, and it was so
Yeah,
like, even because people would always be like, "Isn't that stressful? Like, how do you travel not knowing?" And I'm like, it's like a game, it's kind of fun,
it's a
it's
game,
like
it
an
is
adrenaline
fun.
rush, like, we would be, like, watching the flight loads, knowing exactly where we wanted to like, "Oh, we should do this flight, we have a better chance here," like, I just got really, like,
It's
well-versed on
fun,
that, yeah.
and then, like, when you get on a flight that's full,
You're
that's,
like,
like, oversold, and you get, like, great seats, you're like, "Oh my," it's, like, exhilarating, it's, like,
yeah.
adrenaline rush.
It is, yeah, it's funny. I mean, the only time that it's, like, not fun is when you have to be somewhere, but
Right.
usually if we had to be somewhere, like, no questions asked, and the flights were looking iffy, we would just book a ticket, but at that point, when you realize how many flights you've flown for free, you're like, whatever, I'll spend the
Yeah,
money."
like,
Yeah.
1 ticket here. Yeah, I haven't paid for a flight in, like, 2 years.
Yeah, well, because too, like, once I don't know how your airline works, but for the one that he worked for, we could also fly other major airlines,
Yeah,
so
me
it
too.
really wasn't a big deal. Like, you can
Yeah.
pretty much find a flight anywhere.
Yeah, and then I'm super lucky because my boyfriend also works in the aviation
Ugh,
industry, but
amazing.
he put me on his flight benefits too, so I have, like, all kinds
Yeah.
of
That's like
flight benefits.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
you'll never be without a flight. So were
No.
you doing this how long have you been doing both? Like, were you doing both during the pandemic?
No, no, I was in nursing school during the pandemic, so, I
Oh,
mean, I'm, like, fairly new doing both, like, it's only been 2 years, you know?
okay. How has
Yeah.
it been? So I'm curious about this though. So as a nurse, when you're working as a flight attendant, how does it work when if there's like an emergency on the plane? Do you have to still just defer to whoever other healthcare professionals? Like, are you allowed to like be like, oh, I'm a nurse, I can help in this situation, or is that like kind of like a conflict?
So, I mean, obviously too, like, I'm a flight attendant on my flight, right? I'm not a nurse. So, like, if I were to go help someone and I did something and it was the wrong thing, obviously I have that still potential of like losing my license or something happening. Um, Whenever there is a medical emergency, I go, I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, actually, too, like, I'm a nurse, I can go." Like, before we make an announcement,
Yeah,
do, like, a little assessment, see what's
sure.
going on. It's happened before, of course, and, like, I think people's initial reaction to if there's a medical emergency 30,000 feet up in the air in a metal tube is to freak out.
Yeah.
But, like, obviously, with my medical background, it's just kind of like, "Okay, like, what could this be?" And then also just as a flight attendant too, we don't go to, training to just like learn how to serve snacks and drinks
Right.
all day. Like we train for emergencies and,
Yeah. That's why you're
we're
there. That's the big reason you're there. Yeah.
exactly like we're handled to equip that. So like I offer my like medical background. I'm confident in myself and like what I know and what I can do too. And obviously like if I would need like a doctor or something,
Phone them.
call
Yeah.
you can phone them, or we have, like, a headset too where you can get in contact with a doctor. But, obviously, I have to, like, start an IV or something, like, open the emergency medical kit, like, I feel comfortable doing that, so I would
Okay.
yeah.
So what are you what I guess what is I don't know this answer. What is in I know that the planes have, like you said, the IVs and things. What else? Are there medications? Are there certain things that we are as nurses allowed to give? Or is it like once you if there are medications, if you're opening them, do you need to have the doctor on the line in order to start
Yeah,
administering
you
things?
need you need to have that, like, still that
Mhm.
flow of, like, "Oh, you need to do this," and obviously, like, the end goal is to keep, like, the passenger safe, like, you never know what's gonna happen. But there's, like, AEDs on planes, there's, like, blood pressure cuff, pulse ox, like, oxygen, like, you can do a full thing. You can keep the patient stable, if something
Yeah.
were to happen, and
Yeah.
then they divert the plane, so
Have you ever been on one where you've had to like emergency land for somebody?
I've never had
No.
to, like, emergency land. I know some of my friends have where they've had to, like, divert somewhere else to get the passenger off the plane. I've never had, but we've had, like, where the passenger needs to be taken off with, like, a net at
EMS.
the gate with
Mm.
yeah, EMS or something, so
Yeah.
that's nothing too scary, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So what is the I don't think I actually know I think I kinda know the answer to this, but so what happens if say somebody has a heart attack on the plane and they die, what do you do with them while you're waiting to land? Is there like a protocol or do you guys just like, "Oh my god," like, what do you do?
Yeah, I think we, like, talked about that. I think probably just, like, make them comfortable, like, do what you can, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. My question
Obviously,
is like
we're
with like the body, I guess, like, are you suppo is there like a place you guys move it to, or is it just like,
no,
let's just
I don't
land this
think so.
thing?
I think if they
Okay.
just said, like, "Put it in the seat," just try to
Yeah,
until you land, like,
yeah. That's
I don't
so
know.
interesting,
I
yeah.
don't know, yeah. Obviously, I feel like I wouldn't actually know what I would do, like, until that would happen.
Yeah, and there's plenty of you to kinda collaborate, I'm sure, on that, and be like,
Yeah.
what and somebody probably to be like, "Who do we contact to, like, figure out
Yeah,
what to do?"
what to do.
Uh, and I feel like by that point too, most 9 times out of 10, I'm sure that the captain's already, like, trying to land the plane, so it's not
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I've been on a couple of flights where they've called for medical professionals, and I remember one specifically, I was flying I don't remember if I was flying to or back from Paris. I know it was to Europe, and I remember they called for a medical professional. I could not believe how many people stood up. Seriously, there was like and
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating, there was probably like and then this is a bigger flight because 'cause we're going to Europe, but there was probably like 15 people, like, going to the back, and this poor person just had, like I don't know, they were feeling faint and they were, like, vomiting and had, like, some diarrhea or something, so everybody just, like, turned around and like, "Yeah, we're good. We're not" they're fine. But other than that, I've never had, like, a crazy experience. I was a server, I worked in restaurants before, and I had to do the Heimlich a couple of times doing that job, but because I worked in a steakhouse, people just
Oh, yeah.
inhale their food and choke on steak. Um, but I don't know, I just find, like, emergencies in it's amazing how different an emergency is out in, like, public versus in the hospital because you don't have all the resources and if you're the only one, you're like, "Oh my god, like, what do I do?"
Yeah, truly, and honestly, though, I feel like you're right, like, literally, there always is so many medical professionals on board, whether they're, like, EMS or, like, a doctor or a nurse, there is always someone else.
Yeah, like, there's almost like a team. I was just on a flight. I just flew in, I'm like still jet lagged today because I flew a red eye from Phoenix to Boston. I didn't get home this morning, but I got home yesterday morning, and someone on the flight was I was right by the bathroom. This was actually on my flight to Phoenix, but the person was like inside, like banging on the door, hit the emergency light, and I'm just thinking like, oh no, like what is about to happen? The poor guy was just like locked in the
Oh, in the
bathroom,
bathroom.
and he was like extremely claustrophobic and could not get out. And so once he got out, I was like, what was about to be happening? Like, is somebody like dying on the toilet in there? Like, I don't even know, but all was fine. So okay, so kind of talk to me about your schedule. So what are you on a typical month? What is your schedule looking like, or like week, I guess?
My schedule is crazy, and I do a lot of, like, TikToks and stuff too to explain this, but obviously my schedule completely different every single month,
Mm,
and I tailor it to whatever I need. So first you bid for your flight attendant schedule. So every month I bid, and, 1 month I might get reserve, which is where I don't know where I'm going. It's just, like, I'm on call. So I might get paid to stay at home, or I might end up in, like, Arizona or, like, Hawaii, or you have
hmm
no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
So that, like, changes every other month, and then you get 3 days flying a week. Like, it's a block of 3, and then you can pick up more or get rid of stuff. So, and then I just kinda tailor in all my nursing stuff
Come
in
around that.
between that. Yeah. But if I wanna, like, nurse more, like, I'll try to get rid of some of my trips and then fill it in with nursing. Just depends on what I have going on. Like, next month in August, I have some trips planned for the weekend, so, like, I'll make sure I'm off then and, like, working other days. I do work a lot, though, I would say. I work probably, and I don't have to work, because like, you don't have to work both my jobs, like PRN,
Right.
I don't have to work, but I, like, choose to work because I love going to work. I like
Yeah.
just doing it. So, it just honestly, it just depends. I've been doing, like, 3 days of flying. Sometimes I'll block, like, 3 days of nursing and 3 days of flying together and do,
Mm,
like, 6 in a row, which
yeah. It's a lot.
that is a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy, but then usually I take, like, 6 days off, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lately, I've been doing 2 nursing shifts and then 3 days of flying.
Okay. So it's
Yeah,
yeah, so it's kind of just all over the place. Sounds like you tailor it to kind of what best meets your
exactly.
needs.
Yeah.
What have you found to be the biggest benefit in doing this? Like, do you feel like you really have been able to avoid burnout in nursing because because you did this? Are you happy with your decision to become a flight attendant and keep that balance? Or like what's been your biggest benefit?
Yeah, I think the balance thing is just something I'm so grateful for that I learned early on, with nursing and just finding that, because, like, I get excited to go back to work, even at the hospital. Like, I'm excited, and I love the people I work with too.
Mm.
Obviously, that always makes, like, a huge difference. But I mean, I don't feel like dread going to work, but I think it's because I take time off and I go do something else. And, like, my layovers are so fun. Like, you
Yeah,
fly and then you get to explore a city, and obviously, it's not always glamorous, but
sure. Any job,
for
yeah.
the most part, it's kind of like a little vacation
Yeah.
almost,
Are you
you
flying
know?
international too from Chicago?
No,
No.
so, I mean, I work for Southwest, so
Okay.
we don't fly a lot of international stuff, but, like, of course, like, I've done, like, Cancun
Mm,
layovers or, like, Punta Cana, or, and you just stay there for, like, 24 hours and you hang out with the crew, you go to the beach,
yeah.
and then you go home, like, the next day.
Yeah.
So it's honestly just like a little vacation, and I take that time, like, I'll go out to eat,
Yeah. To explore
um,
so many places, like, and
explore.
you're, like, on, the company's dime in the sense of you're not having to pay
Right,
for a
like, I'm getting paid,
hotel.
it's my job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's if you ever do decide that you wanna, like, work somewhere that flies internationally, I recommend it just based on my ex-husband's experience because that's, like, all he loves to do. We live in Boston, so he's constantly in Europe, and it's you can be in Europe quicker than you can be on the West Coast, you know?
Yeah.
Um, just yeah, like, just through seeing I would get so, like, when we were together, I'd always be, like, not annoyed, but be, like, jealous, like, "Oh my god," "I'm stuck here doing all these hospital shifts, and he's just, like, exploring the world." Like, it really is such a cool experience.
It is a cool
Um,
experience for sure.
yeah, and even if you're flying domestically, still, I mean, who gets to say that they've been to all the places you've been just within the United States and exploring these cities?
Yeah, and it's so funny because I feel like I've turned into a little bit of a travel snob a
Yeah,
little bit,
of course.
whereas, like,
Yeah,
my friends will
yeah,
be like, "Oh, do you wanna go to, like, Nashville, or do you
yeah.
wanna go here?" And I'll
No.
be like, "No, I've been there, like, a million times. I wanna go somewhere else."
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is also nice. I mean, I don't do, like, obviously work, but I travel, like, internationally a lot for leisure, like, when on my time off, and that's
Okay.
another benefit is, like, with the airlines, you only pay for
Yeah.
taxes, like, if you work, so it's
Yeah.
so cheap
And you start to
to,
realize
like
which countries have more expensive, like,
yes.
London, flying back from London is, like, so
Oh,
expensive.
yes, and but it's so funny too because I was oh my god, this is so funny because I was planning a trip to London with my friend, and we were just sitting on the plane because we were just going somewhere, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's so expensive to go to London, it's like $200," and
Yeah.
that's like a first class ticket, and the person sitting next to us was
Like,
like,
come on.
$200 to go
Yeah.
to London, like, that's
Yeah.
expensive, and we're like, "Oh, yeah." But it
Right.
is if you're non-revving, that's expensive.
It is, yeah, and since, since my ex and I had separated, like, when I had to start, I, like, got myself, like, a Delta credit card and all the things 'cause I'm like, "Oh my god, I need points now. I have to start, like, actually paying for these flights. This is so ridiculous." But because, I mean, he's from, Hawaii, and I'm from Arizona, we lived in Boston, so we were constantly just, like, going, flying to Hawaii for free and just, like, it's like I never took that for granted, ever.
Right.
But when you start having to actually pay for it, you're like, "Wow, traveling is a lot more expensive when you're paying
It's a
for."
lot more expensive,
uh,
and obviously too, it's nice, like, I feel like a lot of nurses work so hard too to, like, save up for trips, I work, like, you pick up extra shifts, but, like, obviously with this, it's like, okay, you could work a little bit less because it's not as expensive to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Kinda just, like, compensates a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, I totally hear what you're saying. What so if somebody to kinda, like, switch this around, if somebody out there was listening and they're a nurse or even if they're not, and they are thinking about becoming a flight attendant, are there requirements that you have, like, to apply for the job that you need, like, qualifications? Do you need a degree? Do they really just kind of how does the interview process work? And then how does the training process work?
Right, so you don't need a degree or anything, there's not really any requirements, so you just the thing about becoming a flight attendant is the application for flight attendants, it's not always open.
Okay.
It's not like you have to follow it and you have to, like, be aware and listen to whatever everyone else is saying when the application's open. So, like, our application opened literally, like, a month ago for, like, 2 hours, and when
Wow.
I applied, it
That's
had opened for 4 hours and, like, 20,000 people applied in a
wow.
span of 4 hours.
Wow.
So, like, the site crashes, so it's even hard to just even get your application submitted. So, even just getting your foot in the door to, like, get your application in to get hired is really complicated.
Was it helpful that you had was it your uncle? He said, like, a reference for you?
Yes. Yeah, and he was definitely a really good resource for me because, like, he was obviously able to, like, "Oh, the application is opening."
Mm.
He helped me submit my application. We were both on the computer, like, going crazy.
Yeah.
And so I always, like, tell people I recommend, like, going on the any airline's website and just signing up to receive notifications
Mm.
for when
It
they are
opens.
opening application, along with following people on, like, social media,
Mhm.
flight attendants, because 'cause they're always like, "Oh, our applications are opening."
Yeah.
So that's helpful. And then, once you get your application in, if you get an interview, mine, they did like a phone interview. And then after I did the phone interview, they flew me out to their headquarters.
Which is where?
Mine was in Dallas. And
Mm.
that's where flew for a month too to do the entire training.
Isn't American there too? Yeah.
American, yeah,
Yeah.
they're have a big base at like DFW.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
So when
And
sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, and then I went to training for a month, and then after training, you're set loose to be a flight attendant.
So, tell the audience exactly, because I mean, obviously, I know how this kind of works, but I want to hear it from you. With how does it work once you pass your training and get hired? How does it work with what cities? Like, do you have certain cities you can choose from? And this may be different from company to company, but I think I would assume it's pretty similar across the board. For us, it was where the operational needs were, and then he kind of ranked where the cities that he was willing to go to, and then that's where he was based. Is that how it worked for you?
Yeah, yeah. So the thing about the airline industry is everything is seniorities.
Mm-hmm.
So it matters how long you're at the company for.
Mm.
So obviously, like, right fresh out of training, I had, like, put my top priority to be based in Chicago because that's where I wanted to go out of all the bases.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I wasn't based in Chicago for the first 2 months. I was based in Denver for my first month.
Oh, cool.
And I was living in this thing called a crash pad flight
Yeah.
attendants have,
Okay.
which it was a house with, like, 20 other flight attendants, and I
Yeah.
slept in a bunk bed, and everyone's just, like, in and out, going on trips, and you make friends, so that was a really fun experience. And then after the 2nd month, I was in Baltimore, based there for a month, and then finally my 3rd month out, I based in Chicago because my seniority was, like,
Yeah. Climbing.
increasing, and obviously after, like, 2 years, you get better
Yeah.
get better days off. You don't have to work on the weekends. Like, you might be able to hold holidays off.
Yeah, you're, like, off the
So
reserve knee or the list or
you're off the
whatever, yeah.
reserve, like, if you get in a so, like, me, if I, like, stick with a flight attendant my flight attendant job, like, I wanna be here for a long time because obviously the longer you're in it, the better
Yeah.
your quality of life is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
once you get through those, it's like any job that you need seniority, the beginning always kinda sucks, like, you kinda get what you get, and then once you kinda get in that sweet spot where you kind of can start tailoring your schedule, I feel like is, um, kinda like the best place to be, because then that's where you get that freedom from.
exactly, and I think the first 6 months too were the hardest balancing both because I was on probation. I was on probation for the first 6 months, so, like, you can't, miss any trips. It was a little bit harder to do your schedule, like, the first month out, you can't do anything to your schedule, you have to work what they give you. So it's just kind of about figuring all that out, but after the first 6 months, like, I got, like, the hang of things and scheduling and whatnot, so that was definitely, like, the hardest part was just learning how to do everything, but if you stick with it, it really does
Yeah.
out, like, I think in the long run.
Okay. So, yeah, so really what I'm hearing you say, and this goes for really I think anyone in I'm huge on people not being so stuck in just healthcare. Like if you're feeling I think really you having that self-awareness of yourself as a nursing student to just at least know, hey, I don't know if I want to do this full time even or forever. I need something else. And I think what a lot of people do is they wait till they've been doing it for 5, 10 years before they're like, okay, that feeling that I had in nursing school is right. I think I'm gonna believe that now that I've done this for 10 years. So my message to people is to try, not to wait that long. And if you're just willing to have a little bit of that, like that go for it mentality and not be so afraid. Cause I'm sure that I think you even said you had a little bit of fear around it. You weren't sure how it was going to go. But you were willing to at least try. And then just like the end product of that is that you get to live this life now that while it may not be perfect and there's obviously cons to anything you do, you really have set yourself up, at least at this point in your life, for just like having that freedom, that flexibility, and the option to do other things. And I think the biggest thing about it is you're not burning yourself out like so many of us do. And I think that that's really important. And that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because I think people need to hear that. I think sometimes we, even just as not even just as nurses, but as humans, need that permission almost from somebody else to be like, oh, okay, like Hannah's doing this. Hannah's out there being a, flight attendant and a nurse. Like I can, even if I don't want to be a flight attendant, it gives me the permission to now go do something else that I was thinking
Yeah,
about. So I think
yeah.
that's great to hear that.
Yeah, and I think too the hard part with nursing burnout is like, as nurses, obviously you really only have to work like 3 days a week,
Mhm.
if you're in the hospital, it does 12. But I think like if you get burnt out, I know so many of my friends, like they just don't even want to do anything on their days off because
Mhm.
they're so like
It's
just
dead.
mentally
Yeah.
drained. And it is draining. It's really demanding to like see sick people all day
Mhm.
and deal with people all day and hospital administration on top of everything,
Yeah.
right? Just like being so against you. So like of course, like, you totally understand that they don't wanna do anything off, but I think if you give yourself that flexibility to, like, take not work 3 days a week, like, I wanna take 2 weeks off from nursing, and then I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel so much more energized, like, on my days off. Like, I've been off for 4 days, and I've just been going crazy, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you
'cause
you
I'm
probably
just
you
not
probably show up
so
so much better for your patients too, like
for my
when you
patients,
feel better.
truly,
Yeah.
truly, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think I was whenever I was planning this podcast, I was like, how did I meet Hannah? I was like, oh yeah, we met on NurseCon, right? That's where we
Yes,
met. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess just like sidebar, talk to us about your experience. How was NurseCon? Was that your first one? Would you go again? How was it for you?
That was my first NurseCon, and, honestly, that was my first cruise actually
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
So, and Nurse Blake said that this is like a extreme crazy cruise, like,
Yeah.
not all cruises are like that.
Yeah.
But I had so much
Yeah.
fun, and I met so many amazing people, and, I'm actually planning something in October with one of the girls I met
Oh,
there,
nice.
so, I mean, it was such a fun
Yeah.
experience. I hope to go back probably next year, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
although they did say they might make it, like, 7 days. Did you hear that?
Oh, sure. Why
I don't
not?
know, but, like, after the 4 I think we were there for 4 days,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my god, like, I need to go home and
Like,
go to
done.
bed."
Yeah, yeah. So I think cruises are one of those things that you especially if it's 7 days, you have to pace yourself. If you're indulging in alcohol or the sun, I mean, you just have to really
Yeah.
pace yourself, especially if it's gonna be 7 days. There's definitely gotta be a couple days in there where I'm like, "I'm not speaking to anybody. I'm gonna go just relax, go to do the spa or something." But yes, very fun, a great way for, like, community building, being around on a ship full of people people who all get what you're going through is amazing. And I think you kind of touched on this earlier too, even just being a flight attendant, just that feeling of just community, the people you meet. And when you're a flight attendant and you're traveling, I mean, you're all away from your friends and family in a new city. And even if it's just one person who wants to go out and like explore the city, like you're just constantly meeting new people and getting to do new things. And then once you're there for a while, based on the things I know, you start to build friends and fly with your friends, it's just it's
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, and I always say it's all about who you know, like,
Mhm.
all your connections you can
Yeah.
make. And two, I always encourage, like, nurses to do the whole social media thing too, like,
Yes. Yeah.
obviously, like, the social media thing has become a third income, a third job really too for
Yeah.
myself,
Mhm.
but it has opened so many doors for myself and, like, things have happened that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that never would have happened for
Yeah.
me if I didn't do it," you know? So I always encourage nurses too to, like, post about your life, post about your nursing
Mhm.
experience, like, talk or just do anything, you know, just get over that fear too.
Yeah, yeah, because there's not I mean, what people don't realize about it is, yes, there may be especially now, there may be a lot more nurses out there making content, but nobody's you. Nobody has the same experience or has the same things to say. You just have to, just find that uniqueness about yourself. And for you, I mean, you're able to bring in your flight attendant, your nursing, or, your aviation experience, and that's what one of the things that's so unique about you. And everybody has that if they're willing to just find it and then talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then post about it in your life,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Everybody's always scared. I mean, it is scary when the first time you start making videos, it's so cringy. You're like, "Oh my god, like
Oh
what
my gosh.
like
I
I
know, I look back at some of my old videos and I was like, "Wow," but and the more you
yeah.
do it though too, you get good, you know,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
good at it. Because I was, like, looking at my videos now and I'm like, "Oh, this is good," and then I look
Yeah.
at old videos and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, you find your groove, you find
Yeah.
what your audience or who's consuming your content, kind of what they want to see. That's yeah, it's the best part. It's just like another form of expression. And I always tell people who ask like, how do we start doing this or what do I do? Is like if you are willing, if you have something to talk about and you have something to say, and as long as you just stay true to yourself, then the right people will be there, and it won't become as scary or exhausting if you feel like you're having to like be this character, or like if you're only posting to get likes and views about something
Yeah.
and it's not true to who you are, then that's where I have felt burnout from it. Because we've all, I mean, I don't know if you have, but I feel like most people, like we've all been in that space of like, okay, I'm chasing something, like I want more views, I want more likes or whatever. uh and if I find if I do that, it's harder to stay authentic and to feel like I'm not gonna burn out from that as well, because then I'm like, "Oh, I have to keep up this, like, this
Keep up
trend
with
of
this
like."
fake persona,
Ugh,
yeah.
it's
And, like,
exhausting.
it's the creative flow too, like, some days, like, if I am, like you just said, like, trying to chase after something, like, I just can't I get, like, a creative block, like, I
Yeah,
don't wanna
yeah.
make anything or do anything, you
Yes,
know?
yes, I've been there more times than I would like to admit,
Yeah,
but the
same.
awareness is at least there, so
Yes.
yeah. So speaking of social media, how do people find you? What is your page about? What is your hopes whenever you're posting on social
Yeah, so
media?
you can find me I had a TikTok page, but that actually got hacked,
Oh,
so I had to
no.
start a whole new TikTok page,
Oh,
but
no.
it's going good, so
Yeah.
Scrubs and Hubs is that, so it was,
Okay.
like people are like, "Scrubs and Hubs," but it's, like, Scrubs nursing and then Hubs for, like, flying.
Love it.
I don't
I love it, yeah.
and then I'm on Instagram too, Hannah Kimmel, and then I've started doing some YouTube stuff too, but that's a lot of work,
So much work.
so
Yes.
there's little that's, like, Hannah Kimmel too, so basically mainly, like, TikTok and Instagram.
Okay, love it. We'll
Yeah.
definitely put those in the show notes and in the article that we publish so people can
Awesome.
find you. Are there any parting words, any words of encouragement, words of advice that you would give for anybody in aviation, anybody in nursing, or just any general message that you would want to give to the audience?
I would say just go for it, you
Yeah.
know, just do it, like, choose your own adventure,
Mhm.
you know? You don't have to stick to the beaten path. I also know so many flight attendants that are going back to nursing school
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
doing that whole thing after a long career of flying. So, it could go either way, and, like, if you're burnt out, if you are, like, miserable, you know, don't be scared to go
Like change
do
something.
something else. Switch
Yes.
it up, shake it up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Really, I really, really do. I was super excited for this conversation. I really think people will find value in that. And again, even if they're not looking to be a flight attendant or get into aviation, it'll maybe give them an idea or spark something in them to be like, okay, I'm ready to take this leap into whatever the hell that it might be. So, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing with us. This has been awesome talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.